what is actually going on with this maternal surname saga that we're not discussing. Hello and welcome to Sangoma Society. My name is Hanima Baba and this is Sangoma Society, where we demystify the ancestral. And today we're going to be speaking all about maternal surnames, what it means to carry your maternal surname, and if that's an issue or not, spiritually speaking, ancestrally speaking. So it's quite a trend or something that we're all accustomed to, perhaps here in South Africa at least. The thing of seeing people changing their surname to their paternal surname or looking for their fathers in order to be able to take on the paternal surname when they've been raised by their mother's family or by their mothers alone all their lives, and then perhaps they're told that things aren't going well in their lives because they're not using their paternal surname. Cue the natural reaction to reject that notion. What is it that we're not being told here? What's the conversation that we're not having? Okay, let me dial it back to before we even get to the part where there's issues in one's life. In order for someone to be registered or acknowledged ancestrally under a specific name, what tends to happen is the ancestors require some level of introduction under this name in order for a person to carry that name. So often what happens is when we're born out of wedlock, we're born into our maternal surnames and there's no ceremony that accompanies that. Then when things go wrong later on, there tends to be now the requirement of some level of introduction to our ancestors. The natural order of things would be that we would be introduced to our paternal families if our parents were married. So when we're born outside of wedlock, what tends to be the general advice given is that one goes about fixing things with the paternal family so that we are formally introduced to our ancestors in that context in order that our lives can flow better. And there tends to be a need to do the rites and rituals of the paternal surname. We tend to have situations where there has been some level of informal introduction, or they have already begun the process of ukulobola or ukuhlawula, but have not concluded any ceremony of formally introducing you as a child to the ancestors. These things can cause, accidents. One might find themselves in repeated accidents. One might find themselves in repeated situations of losing an opportunity of some kind where things are promising and then all of a sudden things fall through. There tends to be identity crises that we see that can be ruled out perhaps superficially, just as daddy issues, but do have ancestral roots as their cause. That's when you might find that the need is paternal ancestral introductions. And then there's the far more common situation where there has been no introduction at all made to the ancestors by either the paternal or the maternal families. And essentially what's happening is that a person's situation is such that there's a push and pull between the paternal and the maternal ancestors. Now, what's happening is when this person was born, there was no introduction made. So the maternal ancestors were not introduced to their arrival, and neither were their paternal ancestors introduced to their arrival in this realm, made aware formally that they've made the journey and they're now here with us. So when this is the case, it took two bloodlines for this one person to manifest in this realm. So it's going to be two bloodlines who feel that they both have ownership on this person. They both have rights on this person. They're both bloodlines with no agreement between them, being that this child is conceived and born out of wedlock. They each feel equal right to bring whatever good fortune they may have in terms of extending their existing legacies. So this person might find themselves being pulled between two different passions in life, might find that they never seem to finish anything that they start, because again, there's a pull in a different direction every time they seem close to reaching the culmination of a certain journey. So a person might struggle to graduate, a person might find that a career path that they begin on is distracted by a parallel career path, and they move between these two parallels, where one might find maybe they pursue a creative passion alongside an academic passion, and when doors close on this path, doors seem to open on this path, and when doors close on this path, doors concurrently open on the opposite path. And there's always that sort of zigzag side-to-side parallel movement, but not a clear forward movement in terms of the progression in their lives. And that's a simple matter of the ancestors being people, and each man feeling that they have rights over this person's life, and feeling that their gifts are more important than the other parties. What then becomes required is a ceremony of making a formal introduction to the ancestors of the child, and expressing who it is who has the right of first refusal, so to speak, that this person's gifts may be welcomed from all parties who wish to bring gifts and blessings. However, ancestors who will channel these gifts into their lives so that the life is moving progressively are then established through this ceremony. And the ceremony is often a ceremony that actually happens on the maternal side, not the paternal side. I think there's still a lot of misunderstanding of what it takes in order for a person to be formally introduced in their paternal family. And it's a completely different process to Inter-ancestral. Inter-ancestral is not what constitutes the process of the right of the paternal family to naming the child, and that's something I think I will discuss further in another video. But today I hope that there's been a little bit of clarity in terms of this issue with using your maternal surname. The short story is there is no issue, I guess. Just that even if you were using your paternal surname, there would have to be a formal introduction made to the ancestors, just as much as is required with the maternal surname. So that's it. You don't have to change your surname to your paternal surname. That's not the case, you know. But a formal introduction to the ancestors is often required. To find out the finer details relating to your particular situation, if you find that this is something that seems to be bothering you, the best course of action would be start at home, having a conversation with them there. I know that many of our families don't have really broad understandings of our cultures due to, well, the colonial project kind of made it that way. So if this is a problem that you find yourself faced with, or you suspect is something that, you know, is an issue in your life, then my advice would be, if at home they don't understand, then definitely seek out the counsel of a healer, inyanga, isangoma, who can guide you through and find out from your ancestors what it is that your ancestors would like to see happening. Because sometimes you think, oh yeah, it's definitely this, when it's something else entirely. I hope that's demystified that topic today and made it a little less of a triggering subject and brought a little clarity to what may be required in this regard. If this is your first time on this channel, please go ahead and subscribe. If you're returning but you haven't hit the notifications bell, what are you waiting for? Hit that notifications bell right now. My name is Uhani Wagamapapa. This is Sangoma Society, where we demystify the ancestral. I am Honey Tell a Story on all social media networks. I'm so grateful for you joining me again today.